Hey everybody, James Ron Type here, and today we're looking at the golden pair INFJ and ENFP. So let's get into it. Alright, so let's look at this golden pair. INFJs and ENFPs are very compatible, and there's lots of different kind of nuances to the relationship. There are some incompatibility issues depending on the maturity of the people getting into the relationship, and it can get pretty complex. Today we'll kind of go over a pretty basic overview, but if you guys are interested in more, let me know in the comments down below, and any other pairings you'd like to see kind of analyzed, and any questions you'd like answered. I can try to answer those as well. So you have the INFJ ENFP golden pair. Both types share a lot of similar ideals. They're both idealists, so they really look towards the future optimistically, idealistically. They really care about making the future better. They're that feeling intuition types, the NF types, and they care about, changing things, making things new, that social utopia you might have heard about, and just generally being kind of optimistic about the relationships people can have and how people can work together, and the ethics and morals that people can have to have better social relationships in the futures. So generally a lot of, social movements are started by types like this, NF types, who really care about that social progression. But yeah, these types, they care about each other's feelings quite a bit. They try to manage each other's feelings pretty responsibly because they are feeling parents. That's a little bit more into the cognitive functions. But yeah, these types are feeling parents, meaning they really care about being, adult when it comes to relationships. They don't want to be childish. They don't want to be, over caring, but they're really accurate, and they really care about, managing the feelings in a relationship quite maturely, and trying to discuss them and talk about them and care about them and share them and advocate for them. So it's pretty responsible between these types when it comes to their feelings. It's not a huge issue overall, but we'll get more into different little aspects of their relationship. And these types, they're very curious as well. They have that thinking child. They're very curious. They like to learn things. They like to learn new things, especially because they're intuition types. They're adaptable. They're intuitive. They can kind of accept new information, change with it, become different. They're not going to just stick to kind of the old ways, the traditional ways that things are done. They're always looking for new ways to do things. But sometimes these types can be lazy with their research or their analysis. They might not always want to go to their way to learn new things. They might enjoy kind of feeling like they know what they're talking about, they know enough, and that they don't always have to bother doing a lot of extra research. But when they do it, they can enjoy it as well. So it's a bit of a contradiction. But these types, while they can enjoy learning new things, they're going to want to kind of, generally go at their own pace when doing so. And then finally, with this slide at least, these types really do desire to connect with their reality, with who they are. They're that kind of concrete element, because these types do have aspirational sensing functions. They really care about eventually connecting to what's real, connecting to what is, and taking, whether it's their imagination, their creativity, their stories, what they could do, these plans, and finally putting that into real action, into reality, putting that out there in the world, doing that themselves. That's really important to these types eventually. So let's look at some similarities between these types from a compatibility and a non-compatibility perspective. Both are relationship focused. Like I said before, that NF kind of idealism really makes them prioritize people and their relationships. That's their number one thing, whether it's a romantic relationship or a friendship or whatever that may be. They really prioritize their relationship with other people, and this can be great in a relationship because they both have very similar priorities. They're also all about the future, making things better, progressing things. That progression towards a better future is really important, and they can share their ideals in that way. They might not always need comfort and security right now, as long as they know things are getting better. Both of these types prefer jumping into things and progressing them. So ENFPs are starter types and they're progression types, and they enjoy starting new projects, getting involved, jumping in, and just trying to kind of get things going. Whereas INFJs, they like to keep things going. They like to keep progressing things and trying to get them to their natural end. So both of these types can be quite energetic and excited about new projects if they're doing them together, especially if they're kind of idealistic. Maybe they're to make the world a better place, or maybe they're just to have a better future. These types can get pretty excited about that. And like I said, both these types care about what is possible as opposed to what is existing. So they may not always, concern themselves with what, people's expectations of them are, what's normal, what's traditional, what's been done before. They care about, what can we do, what's different, how can we be different, how can we be innovative or intuitive about this situation. And in general, both of these types act like parents when it comes to emotion. I kind of touched on that a little bit before, but they're pretty similar in that way. They value emotion, they do prioritize it highly, but they also look at it kind of maturely. You know, they're not going to placate or enable too much. While they can definitely fall into that when they're younger, as they mature, they're going to look to try to be, you know, as responsible about their emotions as they can be. Let's look at some actual differences between these types. Like I said a little bit earlier, ENFPs are starter types. They have all that energy at the beginning. They like to start things, get everything involved, get everyone involved, let everybody know, be really energetic, and then sometimes they can lose energy after that. Whereas INFJs are finisher types. They're gonna, you know, kind of not necessarily start anything, just kind of exist, and then once something gets started, once an idea gets started, once something, you know, gets moving, they're going to want to keep picking that up and keeping that energy and progress it to its natural end and go as far as they can. So it's a very different kind of disposition. ENFPs are much more socially involved in that way potentially, whereas INFJs may kind of, you know, wait around for something they want to do. ENFPs can also struggle with the long-term focus, right? So they have lower introverted intuition, which is NI, and that's your own individual focus on the future. And ENFPs can struggle with that long-term focus and thinking ahead, whereas INFJs do plan ahead a little bit more meticulously, a little bit more responsibly, because they have NI in their first slot, in their first cognitive function slot. So there's a little bit of a difference between these types. ENFPs can struggle a little bit more with procrastination or not thinking, you know, about their own future. They might be really loyal to something or kind of doing what's expected of them, what's socially normal. Whereas INFJs are going to be a little bit more creatively determined. INFJs can also struggle with predicting what will happen, what others will do, whereas ENFPs can be pretty good at that. They can really know what other people want and what other people desire from them, whereas INFJs might have no idea, and they might not always foresee the consequences to their actions. If an INFJ gets into I can do this, what will happen if I do this, I can try this mode, they might sometimes ignore kind of what the consequences of that are for other people. INFJs also care more about truth, specifically about being honest, whereas ENFPs really value perception. ENFPs understand that, you know, what people think, what people know is really important to your status, to your reputation, and if people think highly of you, they're going to, you know, treat you better and all the things that go with that, whereas INFJs are more about just being truthful even if it makes them look bad. And when it comes to general compatibility things, these types are really compatible. They're golden pair, they're number one compatibility. They have all the compatible functions and interaction styles and temperaments, of course. And yeah, throughout their all functions, they're all compatible. So INFJs are really determined for the future, and ENFPs are really flexible about the future and really happy to go along with what someone else wants. INFJs are really caring and empathetic, and ENFPs are really expressive with their emotion and really sympathetic and have a lot of feelings themselves, and so it makes a really great pair emotionally. INFJs are really honest and always think things through, and ENFPs are really open-minded and learn from others, and if other people think things, they're going to adopt them. And yeah, INFJs want to give good experiences. They want to make a positive impact, and ENFPs really remember those experiences and want to be around people and want to be loyal to people who have made a positive impact on their life. So there's a lot of compatibility with their functions. And like I said, this point's kind of been repeated already, but ENFPs really do help INFJs kind of get things going. INFJs might not always really know a lot of things that are out there, whereas ENFPs are really curious, they're learning things, they're looking things up, and they're getting all these ideas for things they could do, whereas INFJs might not do all that research, and then ENFPs can bring ideas to the INFJ, and then the INFJ can pick which ideas is more smart, more intelligent path to take, and then they can run with it. So it's kind of a good compatibility of ENFPs generating ideas and INFJs deducing ideas. And like I said, both are idealists, both really do care about making the future better, and so when these types team up on some kind of project to make the world better, they can be a lot of compatibility, which can help from just a project perspective. So I hope this goes over some of the kind of basic tenets of an INFJ ENFP golden pair. If you guys are interested in any other pairings, or if you want a deeper dive, like I said, let me know, and please subscribe down below as it helps the channel, and I hope you all have a great day.